The Clarity Project. This podcast consists of feminine and masculine energies diving into the tough metaphysical questions. With hosts Nina Wilson and Dan McCleskey. This is The Clarity Project. Hey everybody, Dan McCleskey here along with Nina Wilson. Wanted to welcome you all to The Clarity Project. Before we get really into what we're doing here and start showing you some of our podcasts, we want you to know who we are and what we do. So first of all, Nina, how are you doing?
I'm doing so well. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Oh, goodness. This is always a fun place to, where do I start with this, right? I think that, understanding that the Clarity Project is about spiritual development and everybody's spiritual journey, and we're going to be talking a lot about that. So really, I'm just going to express to you a little bit about where mine came in, without the big details and the specifics. I do believe I've been on a spiritual journey my entire life. I think most of us are in some sort of way. But several years ago, I happened to hire a life coach. And when I sat down for my first session, she literally knew everything about me, and I was blown away. And I was really creeped out. I was like, how do you know that? She's like, oh, by the way, I'm also a psychic, which I had never, I grew up in a small town, conservative Nebraska. Like, what is that? And I didn't think that was a real thing. And so we got to talking, and she said, well, would you kind of be my guinea pig? Could you be my very first psychic coaching client? And I said, yeah, absolutely. This is fascinating. Like, you literally knew everything about me before I opened my mouth. So through that process, I ended up actually working with her and helping her with her business. And I learned all about psychic gifts and all about all sorts of different spiritual stuff. I had kind of gone through disowning my religion at that point because of just some things that had happened in my church. And so I was also in that process discovering different religions. I also in that process became a yoga instructor and was really learning about yoga philosophy and all of those things, and Ayurveda, and how non-Western medicine can actually really help heal my body, because I had a disease at the time that I was trying to kind of overcome. So with all of those things and going through all of those, it really opened my eyes to a lot, to so many things. And I learned so much. And at that time, I just thought this was a lot of really cool stuff. And it was just like cool that I got to be a part of it. And I didn't really think about it in terms of for my own self or for my own life. Several years passed, and I am a licensed psychologist. I am licensed in a couple of different states. Mental health is my passion and my purpose. And I was really working on doing a holistic protocol for the treatment of mental health that didn't just include psychotherapy, but also included energy work. And I hired another psychic to work with me, to mentor me, and to help guide me through building my business. Throughout that process, she had come to me and said, I just want you to understand, Nina, that you are psychic and you have these abilities and you're working with your clients as such. She said, every time you don't know where something comes from, that's a psychic message. Because there were a lot of times where I would just open my mouth in session with my clients and stuff would just come out. And I was like, I don't know where that came from, but it feels really accurate. So just trust me. And I would say that to my clients all the time. Just trust me. It's fine. Just trust me. And so after she kind of brought that to my attention, I started really leaning into the spiritual side of myself a little bit more, developing all of my gifts, developing my channel for my psychic readings, developing my connection and what I truly believed, and healing from all of that religious stuff that had happened in the past. And so now I have this massive business. I own a holistic health business that focuses on the treatment of mental health, and we utilize all of those things. I have a spiritual side of my business where I do spiritual mentorship and psychic readings. And right now, I am focusing on studying the use of sacred plant medicine and psychedelics and mental health. And we're going to be adding that into all of those things as well. Part of that is because obviously for mental health, if you've read any of the research, those things are becoming bigger. Also, people are using them more in a non-professional manner. And I
Right.
think it's important to have education around that and integration around that. But then also because this last year I've started working a lot with my ancestors, and just the Native American spirit from my ancestors have really come through and said, sacred plant medicine, sacred plant medicine. And when I say sacred plant medicine, that includes psychedelics, they're not all psychedelics. So that's kind of my background and where I'm coming from when I'm talking on this podcast.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and Nina, I've gotten to know you a little bit, and I think you're awesome. I think everybody else is going to find out who you are through these podcasts as well. And yeah, Nina is totally cool. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, and then I want to tell you a little bit more about how Nina and I actually came together to create this process. So my name is Dan McCleskey. I don't have a lot of things that I can say I am, but I can tell you a lot of the experiences that I've had. And so it started really at a young age. I feel like I came in with without a lot of the filters that a lot of people have when they enter into this world. So I feel like I had a lot of knowledge coming in from a really young age, and really had to figure out how to balance out, our 3D dimensional world, and also a lot of the knowledge of the other side, and spirituality and all that sort of thing that just came with me, right? Came with the package a little bit. And over the years, as I got older, I got tons of downloads all the time, really teaching me and showing me different things. And through my life, I found, and mostly, through teenage years and hormones and all of that crazy stuff, I really learned how to hide it, and try to fit in different ways. And even though I'm feeling these things and seeing these things, I really put them on the back burner. And through my life, I've discovered ways to really keep my attention here in this 3D dimension, right? So I'm always a workaholic. In my teenage years, I would always have like video games while listening to music, while doing this and doing that. Just really trying to block out all the stuff that was coming at me all the time. And so more recently, and mostly into 2020, I started really saying, you know what, I'm getting older. I am who I am. I've been getting all of these things my whole life for a reason. And so I really am just, I came up with a YouTube channel, which is Spiritually Out of the Closet, or Spiritually OTC is the tagline on that. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to be me, and I wanted to be me fully, and now really push out all of these things that I've seen and gone through, because they're not all for me. I don't feel like they're all for me. I feel like that there's a community out there that would really get a lot from all of this stuff. So through Spiritually OTC, I've been able to do that and really push out a lot of this, but also writing a book right now as well. And just going through the majority of all of the stuff I've been through. And it's kind of neat because the older I've gotten, I'm realizing that there is a community out there, that there's people that are interested in this stuff, that have had, experiences that have changed their lives. And it's just been, inspiring to me to open up and start seeing all these folks out there, and being part of that community is really neat, because I've never really felt like I fit in all the way. So this is what's really cool. And this is, I think, what kind of brought us together is, so I've put out quite a few videos already with different experiences and different things like that. And I wanted to open up more to what's out there. And so I actually have a neighbor, and I showed her a few of my videos, and she thought it was pretty cool. And she's like, listen, I got a friend named Nina, and she's amazing. And you guys would get along really great. And I'm like, okay, well, that's really cool. And so I looked up Nina on Facebook, and started seeing all of her videos and all the cool things that she was doing. And it was really neat. It really resonated with me big time. And so I reached out to Nina on Facebook and I'm like, hey, listen, I don't want to sound crazy, but I have an idea. Like, let's get together. Let's talk a little bit. Maybe we could develop something. And so I was traveling for work and Nina responded back and I'm like, let's meet right now. And so Nina was gracious enough to step aside for a minute and talk to me. And we set this up. So we started talking about the Clarity Project and basically, different, male and female type of energies, even though that really doesn't have to do with if you're male or female, masculine and feminine energies. And we wanted to have a podcast that really could kind of express, both a male in the physical perspective, as well as a female perspective, but also diving more into the holistic views of things. So, I think it's neat because Nina has some really strong views on things. I have some strong views on things, but ultimately we meet in the middle, which is really cool. So Nina, I would love to hear what your thoughts are so far on what we've done with this podcast.
Well, first and foremost, I do want to give you like some massive credit right now, because I pretty much just show up and get to talk and do the fun part, but I want everybody to understand that Dan really does a lot of the work here. And he's been so gracious to allow me to do that with all of the things that I have going on. And thank you so much for like taking on that piece, because there's no way this would happen or would be happening or would have happened or any of those things if you were not so excited about this. Like, I'm excited too, but I don't know anything about technology. So
you know what, Nina, I love it. It's funny because I've been told my whole life, to start getting into video stuff and buy the video stuff, and I've never really done anything with it, right? But I've collected video cameras and editing equipment and lighting and all of these types of things. And now it's funny because it's just finally making sense of why I've been doing it, and this is part of it. So it's really cool.
Absolutely. Well, and I think, again, like as part of your spiritual journey, we are guided to do like really random things at certain times, and then all of a sudden it all falls into place. Right. But thank you so much for that. I also am really excited about it because you and I do have, well, hopefully we're going to find somewhere a difference in opinion, just for some good entertainment. But we actually have a lot of the same views on things. We actually have a lot of similar interests in this realm of things, but we do come from two very different backgrounds of how we got here for the most part. And as I was listening to you, I do have a question.
Yeah,
because
please.
for myself, I can, now that I know about my gifts and I've developed my spiritual path and my beliefs, and I'm pretty solid in all of that, and I can look back now like on my childhood and see where I've had these gifts my entire life. I just they're so subtle for me sometimes. They're just how I am. Right. And so I think a lot of the times, I was called a know-it-all. Well, I mean, I did like know it all. So
right.
But what I'm saying is like looking back, I can see where I've had these gifts, but I never, as a child or early adult, or even when I first started working with that first psychic, there's no way. I was like, man, that's so cool. I wish I had gifts like that. And then come to find out I did. I was just, they were being expressed differently and perceived differently. But for you, it sounds like you had like very strong experiences that you couldn't really deny.
Yeah, totally. And it was weird because these big things, I at a young age, you don't know what people can see and what they can't see, right? So you don't know if you're different than anybody else. I always had an idea I was a little bit different, maybe in a weird way, I don't know. But it was there. I had a very conservative Christian family, which forced like a church situation. And I remember at a young age, I had a Sunday school teacher that told me I was going to hell. And, and the reason being was because at a young age, I knew that way of thinking or that process, it just didn't fit right. I've already seen too much, right? I've already understood a lot of really what happens, on the other side and that sort of thing. So I remember really going up to my Sunday school teacher and challenging them and saying, listen, this doesn't seem right because of this. And instead of having like a valid argument or something like that, it was more of like, you're going to hell, kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, there is no hell, so that's fine. Whatever you guys want to think, that's great. But that was at a really, really young age. And then going into like high school and getting older, it was strange because just like you said, is I didn't recognize, even though I was seeing all these things and getting all these things, I was still looking up to other people. I remember my friends talking about meditation and different people that would really get in depth with it and discovering new things. And I'm like, wow, not realizing that I, at the same time, was doing that, but I didn't know how to express it, right? Or I was dampening down my experiences and not being able to talk to them or speak to them, to my friends or family. So definitely interesting for sure to get this. And a lot of the times too, and I talk about this in a lot of my videos, Nina, is that they just come to me like big visions come to me sometimes. And when you're experiencing these, you're not like here, you're just it's something you've either already have gone through, like in a previous life or passing over or something like that. But then now it's coming to you here, and you have to understand it in this brain, in this body that you're in during this time. And it's just interesting. So now I'm giving it all out to everybody. So yeah.
That's really awesome. Yeah.
But, so yeah, I love that we're doing this, Nina. And obviously, so just a little secret behind the scenes, we've already done a couple of these shows and they're great, and I love it because like Nina said, is we do agree on a lot of things. We may have different opinions or approaches, but ultimately there is a lot that is real, and it I think ultimately is truth, which I love. And that's for everybody to determine when they're watching these and see for themselves. But that brings me, Nina, as far as we want a community, right? We want to hear from everybody. We want to know what your thoughts are on our podcast and the things that we're talking about. And we want your ideas too. So if you're getting something out of this, we want to hear from you. We want to know maybe some subjects that you would like us to speak about, maybe some situations that you ran into that you just can't explain. We would love to talk about that. And even though it's called the Clarity Project, right, Nina, sometimes we're not going to end with total clarity. Sometimes we're going to end with a question. And I love that, because that's really what holistic and spirituality is basically understanding that there's so much more out there. And the more we learn, the more we know that we don't know that much at all, right? So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, so we want everybody's involvement. And Nina, thank you. You are awesome. And this is going to be a blast. So yeah, so let's go from there. But this is who we are, guys. And I'd love for y'all to watch and like our videos and join our community. And as this goes on, you're just going to see more and more cool things. So, but I appreciate everyone. Looking forward to this, Nina. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Yeah. All right, cool. Take care, everybody. Thanks.